Welcome to Mr. Vaughn's classroom, where math is made easy. In this video, we're looking at Unit 1, Constructions and Rigid Transformations, Lesson 2, Constructing Patterns. The learning goal in this lesson is to use compass and straight edge constructions to make patterns. Now, the actual use of compasses and straight edges will be done in your classroom, where you'll get to practice how to use them properly. What we're going to look at in this lesson with the practice problems is making sure we understand the exact steps that you use when you're constructing something with a compass and a straight edge, and how to look at the lines and the circles that you construct to answer questions about their sizes. There's 2 learning targets in this lesson. Once we're done with the practice problems, we'll come back and review these just to make sure you understand everything you need to before moving into the next lesson. Learning target number 1 says that you can follow instructions to create a construction. And what you'll see in the practice problems is that they will give us a construction, and we're going to have to describe each step that was used in order to make that construction. Learning target number 2 says that you can use precise mathematical language to describe a construction, and you'll need to do this when you are writing the instructions for how to create the drawing that they give you. We're going to have 3 glossary terms in this lesson. The first one is circle. And what you need to know with a circle is that we have a center point, and then every point that makes up the actual line of the circle is the same distance from that center point. The distance from the center point to any point on the actual circle is called the radius. So if I wanted to draw a circle where the radius was 3, that's how wide I would make the opening of my compass from the tip of the compass to the tip of the pencil. And then I would rotate the compass 360 degrees to create the perfect circle. The next glossary term is line segment. This refers to every point that creates a line between 2 endpoints. And when you're referencing a line segment, you will name it with those endpoints of that specific segment that you're referencing. And our last glossary term for this lesson will be parallel. Parallel lines is when you have 2 or more lines that will never intersect. They'll never cross each other. And so you see an example here on the screen. Those 2 lines they've provided will run side by side in both directions to infinity, and they will never actually touch each other. Now we can begin the practice problems for Unit 1, Lesson 2. This diagram was created by starting with points A and B and using only straight edge and compass to construct the rest. All steps of the construction are visible, Describe precisely the straight edge and compass moves required to construct the line CD in this diagram. So for the first step, let's describe how we would make the circle on the left. What I would do is place the compass point on A. Set the width of the compass so the pencil tip is on B, then we'll say rotate the compass 360 degrees to draw the left circle. That would be the first step. And that would allow us to create this shape that I'm highlighting in blue. The next thing we would do is repeat the steps, but this time place the compass point on B, the pencil point on A, and rotate the compass 360 degrees to draw the right circle. And that would give us this shape that I am highlighting in green. Now we would have the two circles. The third step would be to label the intersecting points as C on the top and D on the bottom. And that would give us this labeled point at the top and this labeled point at the bottom. And the final step would be draw the vertical straight edge going through points C and D. And that would complete the diagram with the straight edge that constructs the line CD highlighted in pink. So this is something you could practice doing in your classroom where you have access to a straight edge like a ruler and a compass, and see if you could also follow these directions and recreate this diagram. If you have any questions about this practice problem, please leave a comment below. Practice problem number 2 will be our last practice problem for this lesson. In the construction, A is the center of one circle and B is the center of the other. Identify all segments that have the same length as segment AB. So they are talking about this line segment in the middle that I am highlighting in blue. Now what we know is, since A and B are the center of their circle, but they're on the other circle, segment AB is a radius. This means all radius have the same length. So if we look at segment AC, we can see that AC is also a radius. This line segment that I'm highlighting in green. And since that is a radius, it will have the same length as AB, since that's a radius. Next, we can look at segment AE. That is the line segment that I'm highlighting in yellow to the left. This segment goes from the center to the circle, so it is also a radius, so it will have the same length. Then we can look at segment BC. It goes from the center of the right circle up and out to the circle. Therefore, it is also a radius. And that means BC is also the same length. Now, if we look at segment CD, that starts on one circle and it ends on another on the same circle. So that is not a radius, and since it's not a radius, it is not going to have the same length. And then choice E, segment DE, we see that it starts at the intersecting points of the circles and it goes across to another part of the circle on the left. This is not a radius, so it is not going to be the same length. So E is wrong as well. If you have any questions about this practice problem, please leave a comment below. Now let's go back and review the learning targets to make sure you've learned everything you need to be prepared before heading to the next lesson. Let's review the learning targets for lesson 2. Number 1 says that you can follow instructions to create a construction. This is something that you will practice in your classroom using a straight edge and using a compass. Make sure you know how to hold them properly, how to move your pencil or move the compass properly in order to get those perfect straight edges that you want and to be able to get those nice, smooth, perfect circles that you want to be able to create. Learning target number 2 says that you can use precise mathematical language to describe a construction. And that would be what we were doing in the first practice problem. You want to be sure that you can refer to the center of a circle. You want to be able that you can refer to points on the circle. You want to be sure to use terms like radius. You want to use proper naming for line segments. Remember, it is named by the end points of the entire line segment that you're talking about. So you just want to make sure that you're using the correct terminology so that when you give somebody directions, they can follow exactly what you're telling them, just like you would want them to give you precise directions when they're instructing you how to create your constructions. I hope all of this has been helpful to you. If you did find this video useful, in the bottom left, you should see another video that YouTube believes you will like. In the bottom right, you should see a button to subscribe to the channel. Please do so. Help the channel out. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And please take a moment and engage with a comment below. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.